Good morning, my brothers and sisters. On this episode number 180. That's 180. That's right. One saw Zero looking like a round donut and was like, I'm going to eat you. Get in my belly. Chomp.
So that's a thing that happened.
What? Yeah. I'm just going to go with it.
Yep.
Thank you so much, folks, for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and play. I am one of your four hosts, the Brazilian Mountaineer and Transition Ninja, Lucas Ham Swisher. Also with me, the judge, the jury, and the executioner of fake news and spoilers, Patrick Novosel.
That's right. I am the executioner of fake news. And so to start things off, I'm going to say, I'm going to have a little game right now. Is it fake news or is it real news?
Ooh.
Right
in the intro.
Taco Bell now has a subscription service.
It's real.
That's so true.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't true.
Who in their right mind needs Taco Bell daily?
Somebody that drinks every day.
I mean, like, do you really
Yeah.
do you really think your body needs Taco Bell 30 days in a row?
I mean, maybe they're terminal and they're just like, you know what? I want to live the last days of my life and just do it with Taco Bell.
Yeah, I want to
don't
live the
think you
last
wanna-
days of my life on the toilet. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a rough last 30 days.
And
You never
toilet
know.
paper prices skyrocket.
If Patrick can love Long John Silver's and Marc can love CC's Pizza, I mean,
See, I don't see one of
about
those is
that.
fake news.
Yeah.
Again, yeah.
I was just
like
testing.
Long John Silver's.
who doesn't like it?
I mean, like, seriously, would I like a Long John Silver subscription service? No,
He'd
absolutely
be dead
not.
in 30 days.
Right?
Yeah. If anybody's watched Super Size Me, they know that guy ate McDonald's, which is arguably better than Taco Bell, and he almost died in 30
Who
days.
wants to argue that? Like,
I don't know. People that got stock in it or
Yeah.
that
People who like to
are
be contrary.
want to stand up for chickens' rights.
Do
I
we
don't
know how it works? I mean, is it like...
You get one
Yeah.
taco a day.
Keeps
One
the doctor
taco.
away. That's how the
That's it.
saying
Just
goes
one-
in Mexico.
That's not even
I feel
enough
like
if
that's
you
the
want Taco
opposite.
Bell.
No, I mean a taco a day keeps the doctor next
Close
door.
by.
Wonder if you could like...
By your
wonder if you
bed.
could bank your tacos that you don't eat.
I don't. So you could just like
Get like
every
30 at the
Saturday.
end of the month.
Yeah, 30 at
No,
the end of the
you
month.
don't need-
I'd like 30 tacos, please.
I'm cashing them in, rolling
Mm.
over all 60.
No,
of
I'm using these
last
frequent
weeks.
flyer miles.
All right. Also with us, the judge. Nope, I already did that one.
No,
Also with us,
I'm
on
Ron
his left
Burgundy.
and my right, the Rocket League and Beast of the East, who can make you laugh in 3 words or less, your money back, Ronnie Johantis.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hello to you. Hello to you as well. And last but certainly not least, the final member of the GMG Quadfecta who's got music in his heart, Doctor Who or Apex or Zelda or Pokemon on his brain. Lots of things on his brain. He's got a really big brain. And La Coretta in his old stomacho, Marc with the Cibouche.
Apparently, I got called March today in an email.
March.
Yep.
That's for the best month. I
Yeah,
mean,
Sure
that's,
thing,
that's
March.
a privilege
I'll
to be
get
called
in
March.
touch with them. Oh, okay.
What?
And what was amazing was I found a GIF of Tommy Wiseau from The Room, and it says, "Oh, hi, March." It was
Of course you did.
the best.
That's perfect. Perfect. Wondrous. Speaking of perfectly wondrous, Ronnie Johantis, welcome back. We missed you last week.
Thank you. It's good
How
to be
did
back.
how'd your home inspection go?
Well, a lot has happened.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was
you
on
might as
here
well
last.
just share with us the whole kit and
Spill it.
caboodle.
All right, we're just gonna go. So we originally were under contract to sell our house. Obviously, the person that we were under contract with came in at the highest bid by $10,000. So they did an inspection on our house. The inspection was 108 pages.
That's
So
it.
it was
Light
intense.
reading.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was an intense document. Even at 108 pages, everything was actually pretty good. There was a few things like a spot on the side of the house where the siding was like, dinged or something like that. Like, I don't know, maybe a rock hit it from the lawnmower or something like that. Just like small things like that that are, as to be expected. Um, the one thing that had to be done was the radon level. So the radon level in your house, I guess in this area at least, the allowable amount is like 4.0, and ours tested at 4.1.
Woo.
So, so it tested just above the level. But what it meant was we had to put in a system. So I actually have those guys coming out Friday to do that. Not a small system. It's $1,000, like just a cool thou right off the top to get that done. But so what happened was we got that inspection back, and the buyers that we were under contract with asked for $20,000 off. So that's a lot of money. I read through the inspection thinking like there was going to be a couple of major things on there, and that's why, because they didn't give us any detail other than just asking for 20,000 off, and they didn't want us to fix anything. So, after the initial stage of being kind of angry because it didn't really make any sense, knowing that there wasn't anything on the inspection. I was like, well, I don't understand. Like, you don't turn really and negotiate like the cost of the house after you've already agreed to buy the house. Normally that happens before.
Yeah.
So what happened was these buyers, they put in a bid on our house, the highest bid, basically to get us a loan at the table. And then they tried to negotiate again.
Joke's
So
on them.
the kitchen in my house is the original kitchen. The basement is not finished. I would assume that's probably right around somewhere where the $20,000 came from. They wanted to redo the kitchen and probably finish some of the basement. Morally, it is wrong. It is terrible. I have a lot of opinions that are not for this show about what they did. They wasted my time, and I was upset. And I still am technically, but karma always, karma gets you anyways. So,
Yep.
So what happened was I decided like, okay, I'm going to be reasonable. And, there's a few things on the inspection that I could understand that we could take money off for. So we actually dropped it like $5,000. And their response was they just wanted to terminate the contract. They didn't even want to go further. What they indicated on the contract was the radon. So they cheated from that standpoint, because they actually didn't want us to take care of the radon. They just wanted us to take money off. So by saying it was the radon and not giving us an opportunity to fix it as the seller, isn't really something you do. So they did everything backwards. They put in the offer, I believe, on purpose to try and basically single us out and try to get us to then take money off the house once it was just them and us, instead of all the other offers. So I was happy actually when they said they would terminate, because that's a pretty bad start.
Yeah.
With a couple of people. So
For sure.
So we actually that night we made a decision to. There's a lot of things within that, I guess. So when you buy a house, you put down like earnest money, and it's kind of like good faith money that you're gonna follow through. So obviously they didn't do that. We could have held up, some of the earnest money, and I just told our realtor, don't worry about that. Like, that's not worth our time. You know what I mean? To like be tangled up with these people for a little while. Even though I was mad, it's just, karma always comes back around, So that night, we reached out to the next highest offer, which actually happened to be the people who wrote us a really glowing review after their initial showing. In the review, they actually said that they thought this house was the one, and they were really excited and loved it and all this stuff. Elizabeth actually wanted to sell the house to them in the first place.
Yeah.
So
there you go. Worked out. Hopefully, at least so far.
The best way I can say it is I really didn't care what they wrote. It was a business transaction for me. I took emotion out of it. But I wasn't about to knock off, $10,000 because they wrote a nice letter. Although that's a great idea. If you're ever going to buy a house, the letters really work. It's a good thing. If you really want a house that is going to make you stand apart, your offer that may be similar to other people's, a letter is a good thing to do. A buyer or a seller like me is not going to read those letters, but they might have a fiance who has a little pool. So
Gotcha.
obviously, the same night we terminated our contract with that buyer, and we were under contract less than 30 minutes later with a new one.
Nice.
So the people that had originally put in the offer, they said they still want the house. They were excited, and we had to have another inspection done. This
Another
inspection
one,
was,
really?
yeah,
Another
yeah.
one.
So the inspector is hired basically by the buyer. So everybody has their own.
Okay.
So we had to have another one. I'm trying to think if that's what was going on. I think that might have actually happened last Monday. But anyway, so we had the second inspection. It turned out to be, I think, like 32 pages. And they asked us to fix like 3 or 4 different things, and they were small things. The radon, we let them know we were going to take care of because they're, legally, once you know something like that, you have to take care of it. So obviously I already had that on the horizon, and then a few little minor things around the house. But that's it. That's all they wanted us to fix. They didn't ask for anything off. They were okay at the agreed to price. And yeah, I mean, ultimately what happened was it just pushed our closing back up about a week. So just at the beginning of March now.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was a long, you learn a lot, I guess, on how things work. And
For sure.
from what I've read after that, a lot of people do that same thing by putting in the highest offer because the market is really crazy and they want to get you a loan basically in the negotiations. So it is, like I said, morally it's wrong. That's not the way things are done. But yeah, I mean, ultimately we ended up in a great position anyways. We're still really happy with what we're selling the house for and everything like that. But yeah, it was frustrating when it happened for sure.
For sure. Had to be.
On the life side, other than the house, there's still been wedding stuff going on, like sprinkled throughout every week. It seems like Elizabeth found her dress this past week.
She said yes to the dress.
She did find it. I'm not allowed to see it, so
Oh, yeah.
she definitely wants to keep that, even though I've planned on blackmailing some of her bridesmaids so I can get in on that.
There you go.
But no, she was really happy. It was nice. And she continues to pick first place that she goes to. She ends up like, we went to the wedding venue and she loved it. We both really liked it. She went to the first dress place, found one that she really liked. So the streak continues. It's been,
There you go.
I mean, she's just the least difficult person like that has ever walked this earth. Like, it's pretty impressive.
That's a gold mine right there.
It is pretty good, honestly. It is pretty good because there's nothing worse than having to look at a bunch of places or something. Like,
Oh yeah.
as a guy,
Dragging it out.
I try. I do care about the wedding. However, I guess a regular guy, I don't really care that much about the decorations. Like, I mean, I want it to look nice, but with flowers and stuff like that, it's just one of those things. I don't, whatever.
You're not
whatever
into
color,
the fine details.
Yeah, whatever color fires you up, like whatever kind, I'm good with whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, as
So-
long as it doesn't look like a clown vomited everywhere.
And even if it did, whatever.
Even if you
Like,
did,
I'll
you got
wear
eyes only
whatever.
for one person.
I only need
Yeah,
to
I'll
be
wear
in
the
this room
clown
for
suit
like
if
a
I
couple
have to.
hours.
As long as she doesn't look like a clown vomited all over her, I guess.
I don't think she
I
could
should
look
say.
that way, honestly.
Right. I'm just saying.
She's too pretty.
You don't
Like,
want that.
I'm just like the beast that like hangs around her. Like,
Right.
I just feel like
right.
when we're out in public, they're like, what is this guy doing following her around? Like, ma'am, do you need some help? Is this man like bothering you?
Blink once for yes. Blink twice
Yeah,
for
exactly. So yeah, that's been going really well. It is stressful, I will say. Like the whole, work has been really busy since we, crossed into the new year, and with the house, and then with the wedding on top of that. Like there was a solid week there where I was like every day, like, oh man, I need to escape.
Yeah.
I need to escape into something. And what I found to escape into was Pokemon.
Yeah,
All right.
buddy.
I'm gonna try not to butcher this, Mark. Is it Arceus?
Yes. Pokemon
Arceus.
Legends
I've heard
Arceus.
only
Pokemon
heard
Arceus.
Arceus.
Me too.
I will send you the commercial with the guy saying Arceus on it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
I wanted to call it. And then I heard a bunch of professional review gamer,
I just heard a bunch of
blah, blah,
YouTubers
blah.
say it
People call
wrong.
it
It's so
Arceus.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been playing the absolute mess out of that. Um, I'm through the storyline except for the part where I actually have to fight Arceus. Like it's a before you can fight him at the end. I assume there's a chance to get him. I don't know, but before you can fight him, he's the last guy. Obviously, you have to collect all Pokemon. Um, and for anyone who's played this, like it's one of those games. It's pretty open world, you know. Um, but some of these Pokemon, like the spawn rates, are so low. They are, maybe like 3% spawn rate or less, and it just doesn't always show up. So you end up like just rebooting by either like resting or going to a different place and coming back, and it gets like pretty monotonous and
That's
boring.
that grind. Yep.
It is a grind. But actually, I've truly loved it. It's a lot of fun. It's got me like kind of back into that. Like I always thought Pokemon were kind of cool, and I played the Game Boy, like I think the Red, Blue, and then I played Pokemon Go for a while. I think the whole idea of Pokemon is pretty cool. The built-in actual game is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And it's a really smooth game too. I mean, the graphics, like when you look at them, they're not really awesome, but also it's Pokemon, so
Yeah.
it doesn't actually have to be.
Yeah. You really don't want that to be like real life. I don't know if you guys have seen pictures of like quote unquote real life Pokemon where they
I have
make them
seen
look
those.
Yeah, it's
realistic,
terrifying.
and it's
Some
like
of them are
it's nightmare
nightmarish, yeah.
inducing. It's gross. It's like,
Yeah.
nope, that should not be the way it is. It's
I
like
mean,
seeing
ultimately-
Mario with a real man's face, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, like those are
Gross.
creepy. Those photos.
Yeah. Homer Simpson.
I mean, I really like what they did with it. I like the direction they went with it. Like it's a fun game. Like internally, the game is great. I really think the only, complaint I have is that I haven't been able to easily find what I need to find.
I forget if you
So-
can trade in this game or not. I don't think.
I think you can.
Can you? Okay.
I think you can. I'm just playing locally,
Gotcha.
so I haven't like looked into that too much further. I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there are 5 areas,
Yeah.
5 different areas, and in each area I have probably 3 or 4 Pokemon. Some of those are you can find in both areas. So, but yeah, I mean, I've looked for some of them. Like I spent an hour today looking for a Pichu, which is this little bitty yellow Pokemon. Like
Pre-evolution of Pikachu.
he's not, yeah,
Little
he's
baby
not strong.
Pikachu.
Like he's just hard to find. So
It's so little.
yeah, but it is cool, the whole thing they did with like the alpha Pokemon and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's really cool. It's cool to find like a good alpha Pokemon, and I actually found my first shiny Pokemon yesterday.
Nice.
The first time I found one of those. So from what I understand, you have to get each, like the Pokemon to like a level 10 research
Mhm.
before a shiny will like generate for them,
Yeah.
or before the chances of a shiny generating are good enough to where you actually get one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was not, like a good one or anything like that. It was like just a regular Graveler, but
Yeah.
I was flying over top and I was like, oh, that's a different color.
I'm a kitchen.
So yeah, so I caught my first one, which is pretty cool. Apparently you can find like alpha shiny Pokemon, which is like pretty rare, but
Yeah.
that would be pretty legit to find that.
Yeah, I need to jump back into that. The wife has basically taken control of the Switch for the time being because she is
That
playing
will-
Skyward Sword HD.
That will happen.
Yep.
That will happen.
But it's all good.
It is. It's nice when they. I mean, honestly, like having Elizabeth and she games and like that whole understanding for video games, I think is a little bit different because, some people just don't play, and it's hard to put your, grasp like that somebody could be playing a game for 6 hours. in a row.
Right.
So, yeah, it is pretty nice. Outside of that, I've pretty much been doing that pretty much all of my free time. So this Sunday, yesterday. Wait a minute. 2 days ago.
Yep,
It's
2 days
Tuesday.
ago. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
normally it's Monday.
That's how
The
much
Bengals were
time
in the
got
Super
away
Bowl.
from you.
Pat, I'm sure there are some things we want to talk about, so I'll leave it because I think we'll probably get into it a little more later. But I will say before I pass it along that honestly, I'm absolutely proud of the team. Like it was a fantastic season. So I'm very optimistic for the future.
Yeah, man.
Pat, what about you?
Um,
Patrick.
so yeah, I guess let's start on the light front. Let's stick with Sunday. We've been planning to have Clark baptized for months. I think we have like there was one day late last year he comes in, he's like, I want to get baptized. And then the wife and I look at each other like, wow, really? Like, okay. So there's a class that we have at church that is like an hour and a half class where it goes through what that means, what the decision means, why you want to do it, and things like that. And then if after the class the person still wants to get baptized, great. Then you set a date for the baptism. It doesn't have to be during church. It can be during the week. It could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be at church. So it was like, I think it was like around November we were going to do it. And then like, I think it was like Omicron started to happen. So we're like, you know what, let's hold off on it for a little bit. Let's make it, after the holidays, let's make it in January. And then we have it for January, and the weekend that he was supposed to get baptized, Mel comes down with COVID. So we have to quarantine for a little bit. And so we're like, okay, we'll wait for him to, or her to get better. And then let's make it for the last weekend in January. And then the last weekend in January, we get an ice storm. So it's like, oh, okay,
Okay.
I guess we're not gonna do it here. So then we postponed it and rescheduled it for Super Bowl Sunday. And when we scheduled it, like I didn't even think about it was Super Bowl Sunday. So it was on Sunday morning. Got up there and I was able to baptize him, which was really cool to do.
That is the
For sure.
coolest thing.
Yeah. So it was like, he could choose. He could choose one of his teachers. He could choose a family member. He could choose, really anybody. And so he chose me to baptize him, which was really cool because Mel had baptized Claire. So I was really happy that he chose me so I could do that. So that was really, really cool. And then so Mel's family, my family came, and we were just really celebrating the whole thing. And then my mom comes and tells me, and she's like, your brother was born on Super Bowl Sunday in 1982 when the Bengals were in the Super Bowl. And she's like, did you know now Clark is born again on Super Bowl Sunday? And I was just like, man, the symmetry in this, like it's just so crazy.
So cool.
How just like, like I didn't even think about that. And then my mom brings that up and I was like, brought me to tears. I was like, that's really, really cool how that all works out. So Sunday started off really, really great on a high note I could not come down from. And then yes, Ronnie, Sunday night happened. Very, very disappointing ending. But then again, it was a Cinderella season that, finally came to an end, which we'll talk about here in a little bit.
It was a fun ride.
Yeah. On the movie front, I watched 7 movies this past week.
Woo!
Wow.
That's
a roll.
That's rookie numbers. Come on.
So I'm going to start off with the 5 movie franchise in Final Destination. I watched these like a couple years ago.
Okay.
And so my daughter's like, can I watch Final Destination? And I was like, are you okay with gore? And she's like, yeah, of course. So we watched the first one and I was like, man, this brings back memories because this was like back when I was in high school. And so we watched the first one and every night this week or for the past 5 days. And tonight we finished Final Destination 5. And my gosh, those are fun movies. They're so dumb. But they're like 88 minutes, like 85, 88 minutes. And they're quick,
Bite size.
Yes. So I
And
think
they
that's
are
why
intense, though. They are intense.
the way there was so in Final Destination 5, the way there were two, I remember these, and there were two deaths that I could not watch. I was like, ooh, I can't watch this. And I was just watching my daughter's face, and one of the deaths, she was like, her jaw just dropped, and I was like, was that crazy? And she just like shook her head, jaw drop and everything. And then there was another one. I was like, I can't do it, and she's like, you're a wuss. You're a wuss. And I was like, I've already seen this a couple times. I've seen it in the movie theater. I can't do it anymore. Just can't do it anymore. So watch those, and then there were a couple romantic comedies that actually came out this past week. One was Marry Me with Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson.
That is such a weird combination to me.
It was so weird. They did not have the chemistry. Owen Wilson just doesn't seem like but it was right for the story.
It's J-Lo.
But no, it was like a Hallmark movie. It was predictable. It was cheesy. I mean, it was funny at parts, but yeah, I would not. This isn't not any of my rankings in the romantic comedy genre. This was like a 5 out of 10.
To the rom-com dump.
It was not a good rom-com. So on Valentine's Day, which was yesterday, the wife and I laid down. We watched this movie called I Want You Back, and it is with Charlie Day. He's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and he's him and the other main actress. They get dumped, and so they find each other somehow, and their whole goal, the entire movie, is to break up their exes with their new girlfriends and boyfriends, and hilarity ensues. I laughed so much at this movie. This movie was like, it reminded me of like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days kind of rom-com eliteness of it was really really
that's
good.
high levels right there.
It really is. And so it's funny, my wife started to like afterwards, she started to watch How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days because we were just talking about it. I was like, this is up there in the upper echelons of the rom-coms. It was an Amazon movie, straight to Amazon streaming. It's not in theaters, I don't think. If you want to see if you're going to see a rom-com, if you want to see a rom-com with your significant other, this is the one. It was fantastic.
Okay.
I would if I were going to rate it as the 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 is really good.
All right.
Pretty solid.
All right.
Mm-hmm. On the gaming front, played a little bit of Apex, not much. But what really I've been playing this past week is Sifu. So one of my resolutions is to play 12 indie games throughout the year, and Sifu was my next indie game. I was thinking about getting it, but then it came out. I was like, this game is hard. This game is really difficult. It's one of the most difficult games, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hold off on it. I'm gonna wait for them to add a difficulty or update a patch, or it comes down in price or whatever. And the more I thought about it, the more I wanted to play it. And so on Sunday, I broke down and I bought it. And my goodness, this game is a kung fu roguelite game. So there's 5 stages, and the whole goal is to upgrade your abilities. And you have, like, I don't know, maybe 20 different abilities that you have to upgrade. And once you upgrade it all the way, it's permanent. So if you go back to the beginning, you have that ability to start from the beginning. So it was kind of like Hades, where each run you do, you're supposed to die at the beginning. You're supposed to be able to do this. And so I probably played the first level maybe 20 times just to continue to grind that and get and learn the enemy placements. And this game has got the hooks in me just like Hades did. It's what replaying the levels I thought would be like monotonous and just a boring, and just I wanted to play a new level, but every time I'm playing a level I get better. I understand it a little bit more. I'm understanding the mechanics. I'm getting more upgrades. I'm getting better moves. And so one of the game mechanics is you start at age 20. And every time you die, you age 1 year. However, if you die multiple times, your death counter goes up, and every time you die, you lose that many years. So if you die 2 times in a row, that means your death counter is 2. So if you die, then you age 2 years, and if you die again, you could age 3 years, and so on. There are elite enemies throughout the levels that if you defeat them, then you can reduce your death counter all the way back down to 0. There's also like totems that are around the levels that you can choose to upgrade your health bar. You can choose to upgrade your focus bar, which allows you to do like special moves. You could choose to automatically just remove your death counter all the way back down to 0. You could choose to upgrade your health, or to if you have low health, you could choose to upgrade your health up to 100%, but you can only do this once at each of these totems. And I think there's 2 or 3 totems on each stage. So it's and if you choose to if you choose to go back to 100% health, that's it.
Yeah.
But if you choose to upgrade your health bar, then that's permanent through the rest of your playthrough.
So if you age, the more you age, like the more you start, like are you like slower and things like that? You're not as
Good.
effective.
Yeah, good question. So there are stages where if you reach age 30, reach age 40, your damage starts to go up. So you start to hurt enemies a lot more, but your health starts to decrease. So there's a little bit of a parity there.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really difficult. So once you get past age 70, if you die after age 70, game's over. Game's over. So there's 5 stages. Once you reach to the next stage, that's where you start your new age at. So if you get to stage 2, you're age 40. No matter what you do, if you get a game over or you continue to go on, you can always start stage 2 at age 40. However, you can also go back to stage 1 and try to defeat stage 1 with an age less than 40. So there's a lot of background game mechanics that you have to think about to actually get through the levels.
Risk reward type stuff.
Risk reward. So when my first time getting to stage 2, I think I was in my 40s, and I continued to decrease that. And right now I was able to get to stage 2 at age 22. So I only died twice in the first level. So once I got to stage 2, I could not get past stage 2. Could not get past it. But I finally, after just continued to play stage 1, upgrade my abilities, I finally got to stage 3, but I was 71 years old, meaning the next time I died, the game's over.
Goodness.
Right. So I replayed stage 2 multiple times. Finally, I was finally able to beat it again, and I was at age like 40, 46, 42, something like that. So I'm talking to Jared Orr, who has already beaten the game. He says that you gotta be at age like 25 in stage 3. So that's my goal to do that. I think I can. The game's like it's not a button masher. You have to like methodically choose when to dodge, when to block, and when to pick up a weapon, when to attack. It's not a button masher at all. If you button mash, you're screwed. You're gonna die. And that's how I died early on in my playthroughs. Now I'm understanding, okay, I just gotta watch the enemy, dodge them, and then hit them. Dodge them and then hit them. Use my abilities, use the things I've unlocked, my permanent upgrades. This game is Hades all over again, except it's kung fu. It's so awesome.
I'm glad that I can enjoy it vicariously through you, because this game is so not for me, but it looks amazing, and I can't wait to see this on like a GDQ or something like that, because speedrunners are gonna want to mess with this big time.
Yeah, and the only way that you're going to be able to speed run through this is after you've gotten the upgrades.
Yeah.
So, because there's
Challenge accepted by them. They're going to do like a
Yep.
no death, no upgrade run.
it's really hard because you have to upgrade your health. You have to be able to upgrade your focus, because right now I only have one focus bar, and you can upgrade it to 3 focus bars. So I don't know how that works. I don't know how to get that permanent upgrade yet. But yeah, it's really fun getting better and better and challenging myself every run I'm doing.
Nice.
Doesn't have the great story that Hades has. And Hades has a one of a kind story. But this one I'm not sure the whole story yet.
Gotcha. Sweet.
Yeah. Last thing is I upgraded my hard drive to my PS5. I went ahead and bit the bullet and got a terabyte hard drive for it.
Nice.
there you go.
I opened up my PS5 and plugged that bad baby in, and it took like 5 minutes, put it back in, and now I have an extra terabyte. So I was able to buy a couple of games. I got the new Cyberpunk that dropped today with the next gen upgrade. I just
Nice.
pre-ordered Horizon Forbidden West. I got Sifu. I got NBA 2K22, and man, it's been a great week of gift games. I bought a few games. Excited for a few games. I love
Nice.
games.
Games.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Sweet deal.
Marcus, how
What
about you?
is?
What is up this?
It's been a bit of a lighter week for me. Nothing too crazy on the life side of things, other than so as you guys know, I'm a worship leader at a church, and on Wednesday night we have our worship team practices, our band practice, and apparently I just kind of overdid it with my voice on Wednesday night. You generally try to be on the lighter side, because you don't want to overuse your voice, because you kind of need it for Sunday. Plus, I have a job that kind of requires my voice. But yeah. So Wednesday night, apparently I overdid it, and I was like super swollen in the back of my throat and hurting and everything. And next day, I was still feeling it, and it hurt to talk, which was fantastic. And it would just get worse and worse and worse whenever I'd talk. So I kind of needed to go on a little vocal silence for a little bit, or at least minimal talking, just to give things time to heal. So that's always fun. I've had to go through that before, and that's just the perils of being in music, and particularly with vocals.
Yeah.
You never know.
Do you
when
know
you're-
in the moment, like that you've like stretched yourself out maybe a little too much, or is it not until like the next day?
Yeah. You pretty much know. You pretty much know at the end of the night. Your throat, your vocals just feel like all stretched out and just overworked and everything. And plus we were talking for quite a bit after rehearsal, so that was probably not good. Typically, like I end rehearsal and then I'm driving for an hour, so I don't have to talk. But I think I just overdid it. So when Saturday came around and it was time to stream some more Zelda, I had to go with the old mic-less stream, because I wanted to keep going. I wanted to be consistent. I hesitated to do mic-less because it's just not as fun to interact with people watching if you're having to just stop and type in the chat. But I wanted to, keep consistent, keep it going. And so we had some people that popped by, and I jumped back into Link to the Past and beat Link to the Past. So that is
Nice.
Zelda game number
Good
2
work.
in the books. That's my second or third time beating that game now. Absolutely love that game. To me, in my opinion, the best SNES game, in my opinion. But so now we are on to my favorite game of all time next week. We're back into Ocarina of Time. So that'll be
Heyo.
great to jump into and beat again. This time I'm going to play it on the Switch and see how it goes. Although I've heard not so nice things about the Switch controls, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But the Wii U controls weren't that great, so it may not be that big of a deal. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we'll be streaming that this weekend.
Is it going to be much different? So since it's Nintendo, I mean, there's not.
Yeah,
I guess there's not a lot of different things I feel like they can do.
Yeah, and it's basically a port of the N60. Well, it may be the GameCube version, the update that they did for the GameCube. But it basically looks like the Nintendo 64 graphics. It's not like they actually did a 3D remastering of Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, which if I actually had something where I could stream my 3DS, I may have gone ahead and done that because it looks better. But unfortunately, I do not have that, so I'll have to go with the Switch. But the controls are different. They're specifically set for the Switch controller. And apparently there were some issues early on when they first put it on the Nintendo Switch Online thing. So, but we'll see.
By the way, Pokemon Arceus is one of those games where there are so many things in the game that I still like sometimes have trouble hitting the right button to get to the right like inventory map or something. Like it's just literally something every single like button.
Yeah, you got to think about switching. Like, okay, I got to get to my Pokeball, or okay, what's this? Use this.
Sometimes you just jam all the buttons when you're in a jam.
Hit all the things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a really light week for pretty much everything on my side of things. I was a little disappointed in myself that I did not get myself going on the Uncharted games. So, but I may still go ahead and just play those games just because I've never fully played them anyway. Except for
I highly recommend that.
Yep,
I do as well.
I figured
The movie looks cool.
Yeah. So I may just go ahead and play those anyway, but I will definitely be on the ball for March's GMG VGBC. Had to think about the acronym.
You just call it book club.
Yeah, for our book club title for March, which is Horizon Forbidden West, which comes out on Friday.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
So, but that is it for me. Lucas.
All right. There's something on the wing. Something. All right. So on the life front, I got another voiceover gig.
Ooh.
And I upgraded my gig, I guess, from a 3-minute robot voice to an almost 2-hour I don't even know what to call it. Like normal, I almost had to do like an academic professor voice. Like it was crazy complicated. It was way different. The first job was like a breeze, 3 minutes, talk like a robot, no expression, just hello, how are you? Like just it was elementary, dear, but this one I had to work longer. The subject matter was very complicated. Like I talked about everything from women's rights to space exploration to recycling, environmentally friendly practices, blah, 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 blah. All this political stuff, like all in this curriculum that I didn't get to really follow along a script for per se what I was responding to, but I had to respond to someone sometimes. Like something like, oh, that's interesting. Don't you think you could also do this instead? Like stuff like that.
Now, did you do it in an accent as well? Like, did you do it?
Oh,
like
I was like, Cockney? Hello, how are you today? No, I definitely did not do an accent. as much as I wanted to, I tried to play it cool. The guy did say that they liked my robot voice, so they invited me back. This company invited me back to do all this other stuff and a little more in depth. He definitely had to. This guy's name's Mike, and he definitely had to kind of direct me. He's like, "All right, for this next part, you're responding to someone about this, and you really want to sound like really happy. Like sometimes, because I didn't have context, I wouldn't exactly know how to respond to things. You just see the text, and you're like, well, I guess he's happy, and then Mike would be like, well, he's actually more skeptical. So you need to change your intonation and or when you're asking a question, make sure you go end with, you know what I mean? Like, you making your voice go up, that kind of stuff. So it was much more difficult and complicated. But it was still cool, like getting to do it and just having that opportunity. So I did that.
Being a voice actor.
I know. Craziness.
Building up the resume.
All right.
Yeah,
Nolan
that's
North,
right.
look out.
Oh, yeah. The dream of being
Did you see, speaking of
Ethan
Nolan
Rake.
North, did you see that he's gonna be doing some sort of audiobook to the Uncharted movie? Like Nolan North is going to be the
And he's
VO.
doing like all the voices.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's hilarious. I want to hear his
very
Sully
interested
impression.
to hear that.
Yeah, that would be cool to hear.
Yeah.
Speaking of cool, my daughter is officially a school athlete. She had her first two school matches, whatever you want to call them. One for soccer, one for basketball.
Nice.
Last week she did play in the soccer game. She was one of two that got subbed in. Most of the starters stuck with the game the whole time, but she got chosen to sub in, and she did touch the ball a few times. Then there were other times she had no idea where to stand, and I saw like all the team in one area, and then my daughter's like off to the side, and the coach was like, "Get over! What are you doing over there?" So that was kind of fun. Which for me, like, I don't know a lot about soccer. I mean, I've watched the World Cup, I've watched Olympic soccer. I've played FIFA a couple times and gotten destroyed by like 6-year-olds. But so watching it, I was like, that doesn't seem right. But whatever. Like not just with her, but like with other kids. But this is the JV. Like she's a part of the JV team. So this is like 6th grade to 9th. It's actually 6th grade to 8th grade, but they changed the rules this year that there are some 9th graders that are young enough that they can play in JV. So the coach is allowing them to play both JV and varsity, which is good because it gives a little more experience to the JV team so they don't get destroyed. But they won that game. So that was exciting. Then today we went to the basketball game, and I understand a little more about basketball than soccer. So this was by far the more entertaining of the two, though I was really sad my daughter didn't get to play. I have not laughed this much in a long time. And unfortunately, It was at the expense of the girls.
Oh, no.
Because I kid you not, these girls, it would go from one moment where the refs were clearly just letting the girls play in this JV squad on both teams, because there were some girls that were just, they were literally running in place with the ball and like spinning in circles, like doing the tango with the ball in their head.
You know what? I'm going to let this go. Otherwise, we're never going to get out of here.
Some like
Exactly.
To be fair,
Exactly.
they do that in the NBA now.
Yeah, I have heard that. But there were so many things that happened. Like just like whether like they called so many jump balls that were really fouls, or they were really just, girls on the floor, and the refs like, we got to stop this jump ball. Just give them possession. Let's go. And so they called so many jump balls. I think they should have called fouls sooner, because especially the visiting team that were playing against our girls, they were aggressive. Like they were getting in there and they were robbing them blind. Like they would dribble. Our girls at the beginning of the game would dribble down the court, cross the half court, sometimes not even cross the half court, and the lead girl on the other team would just walk up and grab the ball and just run the other way. And it's like, what are you doing? Don't let them grab the ball out of your hands. So it was sometimes very, very entertaining for all the wrong reasons. There were probably the most common call on both teams was backcourt violation, and they were constantly like running to the other side of the half of the court and getting called on backcourt. And one of the referees actually multiple times stopped everything and say, hey, let me just explain to you why we did this. You got called on this because you're not actually supposed to go between the two half courts. So he was really cool. The other guy couldn't care less. He would just blow the whistle and point and then just move on. He's like, I do not like this job. I don't know why I'm doing this. You could tell he did not want to be there, but it was, nonetheless, it was entertaining. They got destroyed, but it was okay. Because one of Tasha's friends, she is the same height as the eighth graders. And she, in one area, she blocked 3 shots in a row and everybody lost it. They were just like, whoa, like it was just so cool. So that was very entertaining.
Did she taunt like the Dikembe Mutombo, like point?
She should have. I'm gonna have Tasha show her a video and be like, you need to start doing this when you block them, just like wag the finger or whatever.
Yeah,
that would be hilarious.
Do the just like
she was
flexing.
Yeah, put the muscles up. Yeah. But she's clearly, while she looks like she's an 8th grader, she's clearly a 6th grader, like really meek and just like putting her hand over her mouth, like, like gosh. I just blocked them 3 times.
Did I do
that? Oh, did I stuff you in the face? I'm sorry. So that was pretty funny. Pretty entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, like a 6th grade boy would have like ripped his jersey in half and thrown it into the stands after 3 in a row.
Oh, for sure. He would have been like, I am the master. I'm the strongest person in this room. That's right. I'm declaring the draft right now. On the gaming front, the kids and I are still loving and just taking it Saturday by Saturday, still loving Minecraft Dungeons. We've all clearly kind of set up our roles in the group. I don't know if like when you played, Ronnie, if everybody eventually after playing for so long, y'all just kind of had your like things you preferred or ways you preferred to fight.
Like the bow, you have your like tanker truck.
Exactly. Yeah. And so my son is kind of like the melee master. He just runs into the enemies and just starts like doing that sound like like until he kills everything. It's pretty humorous, and most of the time he survives. It's an impressive feat. He still picks up arrows sometimes, and I'm like, why did you pick up arrows? Because all you're gonna do is run into the crowd. And
you should be able to drop arrows. I mean, let's be honest.
You should be able to drop arrows because that
really
is frustrating.
Should, because
the tank always has like 400 arrows.
Hold on, trying to kill it. Dang it! Trying to kill a mosquito. I'm getting attacked. At one point, my son had 300 arrows. My daughter had 400 arrows, and I had like 50 arrows. And I'm like, guys, no more arrows for anyone but me. Okay.
Well, so the pickup, I think in that game, the pickup function is the same as the attack function, or as one of the attack functions, isn't it?
Yep. And that's what was happening, really. My son's running in, killing stuff like, and then he's picking up arrows while he's doing it. So it made sense. But I still told him, like, it really actually made me angry towards the end of one of the missions we did. I was like, guys, I use arrows more than both of you combined, so stop it. Tasha, on the other hand, she is not a rush in melee master. She's more of a likes to toss TNT without warning us, or just wanders around the map and creates this, like, when you play a game that you need everybody to move at the same time to make the screen move. And then there's one person that's like stuck far away and they stop you from, that's my daughter. Like we're going like,
there's always one.
There's always one. We're going like southwest and she's like northeast, like looking at some flowers. And she's like, wait, what are we doing? I'm like, Tasha, get over here. Oh man, but
I played through that with one of my buddies, and I used to throw those TNTs like on purpose at him. Like I would just wait for him to be in the corner and try to get him like stuck in there.
There it is, got him.
Man, does it make that noise every time you get him like that? That zapping noise?
It does. It's awesome.
I thought you
very
smacked
cathartic.
the first one. That's some
ASMR type stuff.
That's
I missed it. Ooh, but the smell after you kill one, ooh, it's
Yeah, that's
not like a
crazy.
barbecue. It's like burning carcass. It's gross. Ugh. Me on the other hand, I don't know if Patrick or Ronnie, you got into the like the souls build where you suck up souls and then you have like a laser beam. You have a ghoul that you can summon. You can heal the party. Like there's different soul,
yeah.
artifacts that you can
I
use.
never got into the souls. No.
I really like it.
I
Like
actually
I
never
fill
set
up,
up a character with that either.
I fill up with souls so fast
There's
that
a lot
you
of really
just
good
see the
moves,
bar
though.
go, and then you just
Yeah.
laser beam everything. And
Yeah,
it
some of
melts
those
it.
moves
It's
are
awesome.
just ridiculous.
Yeah, they really are. But it's been a blast. The kids also love Slime Rancher Patrick, just so you know, when I let them play it. Because, I got some plate spinning and I ain't got time for Slime Rancher be running on our big screen television. If they want to do Slime Rancher or something like that. Oh, got another one. They need to find a
You're not
portable
even
device
looking. Just
that can, I can feel it on my
Mr.
arm.
Miyagi.
You know what they can do? You got the Xbox Game Pass. You can do it through your phone,
That's
and
true.
it's all touchscreen. I don't know if
Mm.
Minecraft if Slime Rancher is touchscreen, but I mean,
They
kids
can figure it
nowadays
out.
with their touchscreens and their
And
You
their
guys got
whatever
any of the-
it
burgers and
is.
Have you guys gotten any of the new DLCs or whatever in Minecraft Dungeons? Or are you still
No,
on the
I've
main?
got them all.
yeah, we have them all too.
So I actually have them all on there, and I haven't. So I finished the game before those were out. I think there was one maybe
Oh,
like
really?
that island place or whatever with like the palm trees. And I haven't played any of the other ones since then.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely want to
This
play 'em.
just in, Minecraft Xbox Game Pass uses touch controls.
hey.
All right, there you go. You heard it here, folks.
See, so you got
you
that,
heard it here
and
first.
then let's go to
Second.
Slime Rancher. Oh, Slime Rancher, not touch controls.
Boo. That's right. My son doesn't have to know that. I'll just be like, yeah, set it up on this. You'll be fine. And then he's just like, I can't get it to work. I'm like, sorry, that's all we
I
got.
wonder if you can attach the Xbox controller to your phone.
Yeah.
Do they have iPhones?
My daughter does,
Okay.
and it's an S Plus of some kind.
Yeah, I don't know if you can sync that up or not. I'd have to double
Well, then why
check.
did you even bring that up if you can't sync it up? That was
All right,
mean.
hold on.
I
Look
was
it up.
asking if they had iPhones, because if they didn't have
get
Android
them all
phones, then
excited?
it'd be no problem.
Then why wouldn't you say, do they have Android phones?
Because I had a feeling they had iPhones because you have an iPhone. Just
They
saying.
actually have one of each. Thank
Oh,
you
do
very
they?
much.
Okay.
So
That is a really fun game, though. It's
Yeah.
like Minecraft Dungeons is really fun to play with like a group of people. I feel like
for sure, it's
that's like
a
the perfect
blast.
game for to play with your kids, probably.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm gonna
Yeah, like I said, I got some plates spinning, one of which is Slay the Spire. I had told you guys last week that I was just about to beat it for a second time, and I did that night with the Silent, which is like the poison type character. Then I beat it with the Defect, which is a robot who zappy zaps and lightning strikes, and it was cool. Now I am kind of trying to get the true ending with the Watcher, which is the fourth character, which is a really cool character that you can, it's almost like a kung fu master, like where you change your stance. And so you have like a wrath stance, you have a calm stance, you have a divinity stance, and each thing that you do has like a perk to it, and then also like a negative side. So like the wrath stance makes you hit double, but you also take double damage. And so switching between all those different stances has added a different layer of planning and strategizing and stuff. When you do the true ending, you do have like a fourth act. Up to this point, I've only beaten it like 3 times in the 3 acts. Now I have a fourth act. I thought I was gonna beat it the other day, but I totally screwed up my run, and it did not happen, and it made me sad. So I took a break
days.
from it for a day, and I tried out Sifu, that old classic, that old chestnut that
It sounds like
Patrick
you're
brought
saying
up. It's actually thanks to
seafood.
Novacell now. Yeah, seafood. I love seafood. You toss hush puppies at the enemies, like peg them in the face with the seafood.
You like kick up a piece
Not
of
that hush
shrimp
puppies
and
are
kick it
seafood,
in their
but
face.
It's at Long John's. Yeah. It's like a hibachi chef when he flips it. He's like, catch it in your mouth or catch my fist. Poof.
Make a volcano.
So, I haven't gotten to play as much Sifu as Patrick, but I've still really enjoyed the little bit I've played. I will be honest that I've struggled. Well, I haven't struggled, but I knew going in not to be button mashy, so I've been like fighting my inner button mashy self because with fighting games in general, I just like to mash them
Oh
buttons,
my
man.
gosh, yeah.
Like that's when the best moves come out in the really good fighting games. This is just an okay fighting game. Just kidding. It's not actually a fighting game, so it doesn't work that way.
It's a different kind of fighting
Um,
game.
yeah, different one. It really like to me, it's such a mix between a roguelike, a fighting game where you have like, up, down, triangle or left, right, or moving things a certain way to do a move. And then it's also just like a good old fashioned brawler. It's just 3D. So it reminds me of like Streets of Rage. It reminds me, it's got the areas with the enemies, and then you're just kind of moving your way around them and positioning yourself so you don't get attacked on both sides. And like I was in the first level and I was in a hallway. I don't know if it was a hallway or a balcony or whatever. And all of a sudden 10 dudes and well, guys and gals walked up the steps, and I did die once, but for the most part, I wrecked shop, and it made me feel so cool. Like I just felt like a ninja master. I was getting a little button mashy with the dodge and the parry because I was just like, I didn't know what to do and I panicked. Yeah, but I would just dodge a bunch and they would miss me, and then I'd hit them. It was pretty fun. I've really enjoyed it so far. I'm like most of the way through the first stage. I've gotten to a hallway where two dudes come out the side and there's a big fat guy in the middle, and he's like,
Oh,
you
yep.
can't come to, the boss said do not enter or whatever. So I'm about to fight them, and think I'm 23 years old, so I've died like two or three times. I think three times, but each time I've been able to reset my counter. So when I have died the next time, I was able to get to the next area.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's been really cool, really fun. I'm looking forward to working on that a little bit, but it won't be my main focus. So we'll see how the progress goes with it. I will definitely see it through, like I did with Hades. Maybe I won't play it as much as Hades, but
Yeah.
I do see the, like you're talking about, Patrick, the kind of the live, fight, die, repeat, and kind of that just loop of making yourself stronger, and it always sinks its teeth into me.
So, FYI, just in, you can sync a PS4 and a PS5 controller to an iPhone device.
Wait, so you can play Xbox Game Pass on a Apple iPhone using a PS5 controller?
Now, see, I've never messed with Game Pass games on
That
iPhone,
sounds
so I
crazy.
don't know how well that works. I mean, if anything, you could probably just grab an Xbox controller and try to sync it that way. But
I mean, I guess I could play on my computer while the kids play on the TV.
yeah,
I guess
I guess.
if I have
Yes. Yeah.
if I have
You got
to.
to resort to that.
Yeah, if it comes down to it, if they don't leave me alone.
Did you know, by the way, this I've been holding on to this question since Minecraft Dungeons. Do you know at the end of every level in Minecraft Dungeons, as long as you just equip all your highest level stuff, it'll actually drive up the level of the item that you get. Even if you're not using them, just equip them before you go through the door.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So even if you get an
Tricks
item
of
that you
the
don't use at
trade.
all and it's a higher level than what you have equipped, just equip everything at your highest level before you go through the door.
I like that.
Yeah. After playing hundreds of hours of it, fantastic.
That is so
man.
great to hear. Too little, too late. Well, for me, I'm definitely going to apply that one. So thanks,
Yeah.
Ronnie, for that one. The main reason I won't be able to really go through Sifu is I am still working on the Uncharted hexology. I'm at Uncharted 4, and man, oh man, Uncharted 4 on the PS5 is a sight to see. It is so glorious, so beautiful. I literally feel like I've skipped one, maybe two generations from playing Uncharted 3 to playing Uncharted 4. That's how big the jump feels. And maybe it's because they did update it more effectively to the PS5 as opposed to the PS3 going to the PS4. But oh my goodness, this game is just immaculate. And playing them back to back to back, I don't want to give away too much because we are going to have a spoiler cast about it with Tim, the Toolman Pollen.
Yeah. I mean, the graphicalness of
Oh, the
Uncharted
graphicalness?
4
Oh, the
is
graphicalness.
just yeah.
Oh, it's so lush, and it's really making me even more excited for Horizon Forbidden West, because I know that one's even more luscious and beautiful and graphicalness. So it's exciting. It's a great time to be a gamer. So working on Uncharted 4. Gonna definitely be starting Horizon Forbidden West with y'all. Yeah. So that's some of the exciting stuff I've been gaming at. The last one, Deep Rock Galactic with Ryan. Unfortunately, definitely a one and done for me. I played it with him. It was harder than we thought it should be. It was clunky to navigate. It kind of had a unique experience to it, like you're mining, and then you're also fighting off these like alien bugs as dwarves, which is kind of a weird combination. But it was a interesting concept, but it was not fun. It was just like it was like a mix between I'm mining this stuff to collect for whatever reason and then getting attacked by like a horde mode kind of thing with weapons that just didn't feel right. It is what it is. I tried it. I definitely don't give it a high rating, but it's not, not every game is for everyone. It's kind of like in sports. It's a good thing there are lots of sports to choose from, because at this point in life, there's a sport for every person on this earth. And some would say, it's not a sport, but it is. And we're going to talk about it tonight because that is our topic, sports ball. That's right, folks. We are talking about sports ball. We are talking about sports, whether they are popular or not, known or not. We have some joiners who shared about some sports back in the day, and we skipped over it because we let Ronnie and Patrick talk about the Bengals until like orange was coming out of their eyeballs. And so today we're of course going to give you guys a chance to mourn and, share your thoughts on the Super Bowl. But we're also going to talk about other sports as well. So do you guys want to lead off with the Super Bowl, since that was the main sports ball event going on recently? Does that work? And then we'll transition over to other sports.
Yeah. So the Super Bowl happened. The Bengals, they had like 3,500 to 1 odds or something crazy like that to make it to the Super Bowl before the season even started. No one thought that they would make it. They had a great season. They were the underdogs almost every single game leading up to the playoffs and including the playoffs. And they continued to defy odds. They continued to have lucky plays after capitalizing on their opponents' turnovers and things like that. It was great, and getting them beating Pat Mahomes twice in one season, one in the regular season, and then once in the playoffs, was awesome. It's really awesome seeing them go all the way to the Super Bowl. And really, the fan vote was that everyone outside of LA wanted the Bengals to win, which was really, really cool seeing. Everyone loves an underdog story. Everyone wants the team that's not supposed to win. Especially if you don't have any affiliation with teams like the LA Rams. But you talk to all of the analysts, 90% of them were saying, hey, the Rams are going to win. And which,
in fact, they were supposed to win in pretty convincing fashion.
Yes. So some
of
the
people thought
analysts
they would blow out the Bengals.
Were having winning by like 20 points and things like that. And just because the Rams had a good defense, their defensive line was just amazing. They have two of the best defensive linemen in the NFL, and they're on the same team. And against the offensive line, and
also the oldest. I don't know if that's one of the same two, but they also
have the
on
the offensive line, lineman. Andrew Whitworth.
Oh, that's right. He's on the offense.
Yeah.
Which
he's on the offensive
former
Bengal.
Line.
Former Bengal.
Yes. But I should have asked Marc first about that.
Sorry, I have to try to interject.
Hey, you know some things. Good job.
Get on in here.
They're going against the offensive line for the Bengals, who have the second worst offensive line in the NFL. So it was a very big mismatch. Like Joe Burrow sacked most times in the regular season. and sacked another 19 times or something like that in
It was a
the
lot.
playoffs.
It
You know,
was
it's
way
like
too many.
the
It's the most I've ever seen in
most.
my life.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like a quarterback is not going to last, no matter how good they are, no matter how young they are. If you continue to get sacked, you have a higher probability of getting injured. And so,
He actually sprained his knee in the Super Bowl.
yeah, which was scary. You could see
He
him on
wouldn't
the
let anybody
ground.
look at him. He said he wasn't coming out.
Yeah. But you know, like it started off, you know, like the Bengals, they were going back and forth. And they looked like they were gonna do it. They looked like they were up against the Rams at one point. But then their offense just started to stall, and they
You kind of
punted.
knew that so the pass rush and all the really good players that the Rams have on their defense, like it kind of felt like they were eventually going to wear them down a little bit, like the Bengals line. Like they did pretty good early on, but later, like during the game, like as they started to like fatigue a little bit, like
Mm-hmm.
that's when it started to get really bad.
Yeah, I think they gave up one or two, maybe two or three sacks in the first half, and then they gave up 4 or 5 in the second half. You could tell that they were like their stamina wasn't what it was for the first half. And then they punt 4 straight times, and they couldn't really capitalize on anything. You know, they had more turnovers that more takeaways this game, and they couldn't capitalize on them. And so they in previous games they capitalized on the turnovers, and this game they didn't. It was another game where the refs let them play, and they didn't call anything. They called, some things.
that
They call.
one
I
that
mean,
one run where
they
they got penalized so many times it brought St. Louis to the 1 yard line.
Oh, St.
Yeah,
Louis.
I mean, there was a lot of calls they didn't call.
I mean, LA.
On both ways. I mean, the T. Higgins touchdown, it was a face mask that you could see that his
Blatant
head
face
just
mask.
turned. Yeah, and they didn't call it. And then with 2 minutes left, they start to call penalties. And of course, it had to be against the Bengals. It felt inconsistent.
Fixed, actually.
It did. It really did. It felt like they were just going to give it to him, and
So-
they wanted them to score.
Yeah, I'm not really like one of those people that would be like, oh, like we got screwed over, and normally I'm not that. I think the part in this game, so I understand there being penalties. Like you said, the Bengals got away with some. Everybody, you know what I mean? They were letting them play.
Yeah.
And you could see it like on the TV. Guys are, the receivers running down the field, like waiting for the ball, and the defender and him are just going back and forth, like just fighting each other the whole way down the field. And they're not calling anything. And honestly, it was a real shame at the end that those flags started flying. Like I said, normally I'm not a guy where I would have thought, well, the NFL really would rather one team win, in most cases. And, I think it was third and goal from about like the 8 or 9 yard line for the Rams. And that first penalty came out, and it wasn't actually a penalty. Obviously, when you slow it down, everybody can see, but at full speed, you don't really know.
What was the penalty?
It was pass interference on Zach Wilson, I think, their middle linebacker. He was covering Cooper Kupp, and he made an amazing play.
And it was weird because the call was the exact same call that they did not call earlier in the game.
Yeah, and honestly, this particular one wasn't an actual penalty. He made a really good play. If that was a penalty in the NFL, there would be a penalty on every single play. So it was bad. It was really bad to get a bad call like that when you're so close. It's the Super Bowl, and it felt like the penalties at the end really decided a lot of the game. After the whole game was fought hard, like both teams. And then for all of them to start coming out all over the place at the end of the game. So I mean, just to set it up for the people who didn't know. So the Rams were down by 4. I think they were down by 4.
It was 20-16,
and it was third and goal. So they had to score on that play or the next play from about the 8 or 9 yard line, which really isn't that close. I mean, it is, but it isn't. And Stafford dropped back, threw a pass over the middle, and a flag came out because our linebacker was covering the receiver. And our linebacker actually had knocked the ball down. They called pass interference on him. Well, when you slow it down, he really didn't interfere with him at all. Like, it was a really good defensive play actually for a linebacker to make. But what it did is a pass interference penalty is either a pass interference penalty. It's basically they get the ball at the spot of the penalty. So it put them on like the 1 yard line, and then it gave them a whole new set of downs. Yeah. So at that point, it seemed like, oh man, like they've been holding them really well up until this point, but giving them another 4 plays from the 1 yard line is like a death sentence.
Yep.
Yeah, and it sucks that happened at the end of the game. You know, the couple things. The Bengals didn't capitalize on the turnovers. Which even if those penalties were the same, if the Bengals would have hit a field goal or got a touchdown in the red zone like they should have, instead of kicking a field goal, it would have been a different outcome. But two, you never want to put the game in the ref's hands to have the ability for you to get screwed over like that. I don't want to say
that's kind of why I think they let them play so much, because it was a Super Bowl, and just the decision for them to start throwing flags and on the one that I was discussing, like it wasn't even really one that looked like it was probably a pass interference. It was their number 1 receiver, and it was our linebacker covering him, which under normal circumstances, you probably should pass it. Like you're gonna have to pass interfere him to stop him, but he just made a really good play. And for the flags to start coming out, then like that really, it didn't nail it down, but I mean, it really just took the wind like right out of the sails.
Yeah.
But I will say,
go ahead.
With all the negative, I think like Pat, we can agree, like it was an incredible season. It was such a fun ride. Like it literally like just pumped life back into the city, like in a weird, like it's hard to describe, but in basically my entire life, Bengals fans, like it's just nothing but a bunch of people complaining really like about how bad the Bengals are. And all of a sudden, like everybody in the city being on the same side, like it was just a magical thing, really. It was awesome for the whole city. And it was so much fun, like just to be, kind of a part of that whole thing. And I mean, like I said, it was an amazing season. Nobody would have dreamed the Bengals would have been in the Super Bowl. This past season, it didn't, they had not a good season before that, a quarterback coming off of an injury. It was just out of nowhere. So it was really fun. I mean, it was, and I'm very optimistic about this team. This is not a Bengals team like I've grown up with. It's a completely different thing.
And what's great about that? What's great about that is, it's not a one and done team, because basically everybody's coming back next year.
Yeah, they should be better next year.
So because they have everybody coming back next year, they'll be able to focus on the offensive line, which is the obvious weakness that they have. Whether they're going to get out of free agency or the draft. I mean, if you go to the Super Bowl, now eyes are on you like, oh, this team is good, and I'm going to be a free agent. I want to go play for the Bengals. You're going to have more people thinking that.
People want to come play for Burrow now too. Like he's made a name for himself out of nowhere.
People are going to work. I mean, the way that the Bengals carried themselves through this entire season and postseason, and the way they just like graciously took the loss, people are like, wow, this is not the thug Bengals. This is not the Bungles of old. This is a new chapter in the Bengals franchise, which I'm really excited to see coming up.
Yep. I feel the same way. And like when you said people will want to come here and play, like, I mean, like Gronkowski made a comment, like he didn't say that he was coming to the Bengals or anything, but he said, is there any other quarterback that you would like to play with? And he's like, yeah, I'd like to play with Joe Burrow. So yeah, I mean, it's just a recognition across the league that normally wouldn't be the case for the Bengals.
Yeah. Really awesome.
So they should be better next year. People that aren't like really like big Bengals fans, like might not know, but the Bengals have like $60 million in cap room for the next season. What that means basically is that they can pick up some players. They have room to pick up some players, and yeah, like I'm excited to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, we're not just excited about what's going to happen with the Bengals. We are excited for what the winners have to contribute. That has nothing to do with the Super Bowl. So I hope you got it out of your system. I hope everybody's ready to discuss some non-NFL football sports and some sports that maybe we've never even heard of or didn't know existed.
Hold on a second before we go any
let's
further.
talk with
hold
Chris.
on. What? Yeah, wait. So I think there was a sport that I saw you playing or watching or seeing online where it looked like it was tennis, but it was also handball and like a curved tennis or like some sort of table.
Yeah.
Who was that?
So
that you, Lucas?
When I went, that was
him,
me. When I went to the soccer game that my daughter played, it was at another school, and we were walking towards the field, and we saw this what looked like a ping pong table, except it was curved down on both sides, and it had a glass net, quote unquote. And I was like, "What is this?" And it said "Tech Ball," TEQ ball, one word. I was like, well, "That's weird." Do people really play ping pong on this? Because that's going to be kind of like you're going to hit the ball there, and it's because it's like leaning forward, the ball's just going to like shoot down towards the ground.
Yeah.
So I looked it up and found online, and it is pretty much soccer ping pong. And
that's right.
So they just use their feet.
They use their feet. They use their head. They use their chest, their knees. You cannot use your hands.
Well, I'd be terrible at that.
It's bonkers.
I'm straight out.
Go ahead and take the hands out, and that's
no good
over
here.
Yeah, no hands, no good. It looked incredibly hard, and it's actually it was invented in one of the H countries, Hungary, Holland.
I would assume it's got to be a country where soccer itself is pretty big.
Maybe not. It was a Nordic country, somewhere in Europe. Yeah, for sure. But that was a crazy looking game, for sure.
I got a serious
first time
question.
I've ever seen that.
I got a serious sports question. So is everybody in Brazil basically just awesome at soccer? Like, is that just happen?
Correct.
Like they just come right out of the womb and they're just Pele?
I need you to imagine like, yeah, everybody's Pele when they come out. They either Pele
I can't remember,
or
but I
Pela.
think they're number one in the world in soccer, or at least they were a couple years ago.
I would say per capita they have the most kids. It's like US in basketball. Like you go to any inner city, you go to any city in the US, and you got so many kids playing basketball, it's ridiculous. And so it's kind of the same thing with soccer, except it's even more common because all you really need is a ball, and then you can use flip-flops to make goals. So you don't even need goals. It's like no equipment.
Yeah, you
necessary,
can set up
just
anywhere,
a ball.
right?
Yeah, the street, a field, a hallway, whatever. So yeah, there's huge competition here. It's so funny because you have exchange students from Brazil go to the US, and they can be mediocre soccer players here, but they go to the US and they're like the number one at a school. They're like star player.
Yeah.
It's crazy for sure. All right. Chris the Rock said, let me blend the topics from the past couple weeks. I don't like watching sports. It's too much of a time sink. I've enjoyed the times I participated in a fantasy league, but it was time consuming for me. I also grew up practicing solo sports only. My favorite sports are running, swimming, biking, skiing, and tennis. There is an M and an E in team. There you go. I have an unpopular opinion about sports.
I mean, you got to have somebody on the other side when you're playing tennis, though.
You do. It's not like Forrest Gump where you're just hitting it against the wall and everybody's watching.
I completely support tennis. Like, I played tennis all throughout high school, and I always have loved it. I think it's a fantastic game. So much fun to play.
Yeah, I personally don't like solo sports because I don't like all that pressure. I like to distribute the pressure amidst the team. And if I'm, as long as I'm sharing the screw ups and the successes, I'm all right with that. So,
dude, I realized something the other night when the Super Bowl was on. Watching sports where I have any sort of vested interest in any one of the teams gives me anxiety to watch it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
Yes.
Horrible.
I couldn't watch the Super Bowl, even if I don't think I have the means to watch it. Had the means to watch it anyway, but yeah, I don't think I could have watched it just because I know that the Bengals were playing and that's y'all's team, so I had to stay away from it, and every so often just kind of sneak a quick peek at the
Yeah.
at the score, but otherwise, like, yeah, I can't watch sports like that.
I agree. That part is really bad. I feel the same way. It was actually like in the past it's been better because the Bengals really weren't expected to do anything. They really
Yeah.
didn't play in big games, and then all of a sudden, I was at a Super Bowl party on Sunday. I went over to one of my friends, and there was a bunch of people there, and it was a rowdy Super Bowl party, right? Like people standing up, like it was a rowdy one. And I was sitting somewhere in the back, quietly, just like hands like on my knees, like leaned forward, like just like, all right, let's just get through this. And I remember thinking at the end the Bengals were going to come down and kick a field goal. I was like, I don't even know if I could do overtime. Like I did not know if I could like stand in overtime. So,
Yep.
Now,
but yeah, I completely agree.
I'm the exact opposite. I thrive on that anxiety. Like I get really excited, like I pace, but I enjoy it. I enjoy that me just rooting from my couch, being the old couch coach, and be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you throwing to him?"
Yeah, when I watch him at home, I
him?
can't just sit down
Why'd you
casually.
turn into
like,
Jerry Seinfeld?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you?
You got a
Why are you
ball
doing
That's not where the ball goes.
What is the deal?
Yeah, it is terrible though. It is a terrible feeling. Like it's just like I couldn't eat anything. Like I didn't want to drink anything. Like it's just like, oh,
Which
please, let's just
Yeah.
win. Let's just get it over with. Let's just win and get out of here.
and now that
I've
I
only
think
been
about
like
it,
that.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I've only been like that with one team, and it was when they had a chance to win something, and it was my WVU Mountaineers in 2009. I think the Buckeyes had just lost. It was the last game of the year. If they won, they would go into second or first place. They would hop the Buckeyes. I think they were third or fourth at the time, and
Is this
gotten
in
into the
football?
national championship. Yeah, this is NCAA football.
Didn't the
And
Mountaineers
they-
get
they-
Huggins? Then
They
wasn't he their
did.
coach for a
In
while?
basketball, yeah.
Huggy Bear.
Yeah, and in basketball, Huggy Bear.
He
Huggy was
came
the
from
best.
Cincinnati.
I think he's still there. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, then they choked against the rivals, Pittsburgh, Pitt. And I think the second half, my friend and I, Tom, we stood the entire half just chanting rally caps, like doing whatever we could to get good vibes to go towards our team to get them to win. And they choked so badly. And it was like the best, worst day ever. Like I'll never forget that day. It's so typical of like we have the same experience with the Mountaineers that you guys have with the Bengals. They've made it to 2 championships and they've choked in both championships over the last 30 or 40 years, however many it's been. But yeah, I totally get it. And my mom is my stepmom is a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, and she had to stop watching the games because she got so violently anxious.
People
She
get
would
too
like
crazy about it.
punch us. She would throw stuff at her family. Like most of the time it was pillows, so it was okay. But if she ran out of pillows, she started grabbing other stuff, and it was like, nope, we're not watching this with you.
That's when
You're
you
not
know you
allowed
need to
to
quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
For
she
sure.
she quit a while ago.
Yeah.
I will say, Pat, the Bengals, like, they didn't embarrass us, though. And we're really used to being embarrassed in big games. Like, the Bengals just do
No,
something
definitely not.
ridiculous. Like, they didn't do that,
showed up.
which is, I mean, means a lot. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't go and do something ridiculous where people be like, well, it's just the Bengals, you know? They didn't really do that. So,
Yeah,
Didn't get blown
that
out.
felt real nice.
it was
Yeah,
a
there's a lot of
respectful
silver
loss.
linings for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like that makes sense why I like if there is a sport that I gravitate towards at all is baseball. And that's like the chillest or at least one of the chillest sports besides golf, I suppose.
Yeah, right. Golf. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And he's approaching, and
Some
here
people
he
get
goes,
some people
and
get crazy
he's-
about golf,
And
though,
I'm
man.
falling
Yeah.
asleep.
Yeah.
I mean, there's crazies for every sport.
Oh, for sure.
In
For sure.
baseball, I like baseball was worse for me for a while. Like the Reds had a couple of years there where I wouldn't say they were contenders, but like contenders for their division. So I would like, any playoff baseball like seems, I'm like, man, I don't even want to watch this anymore.
Yeah.
But I can't not watch it. So
It's like watching a car accident.
yeah.
Speaking of baseball, Corey Fouch, aka Smith, said baseball is still my number one, even though the lockout has dampened that a bit. Cardinals fan, obviously. Recently, I've gotten into Formula One racing, and it's a blast to watch. Football is my number three. I think this year's Super Bowl matchup is a good one. He said mainly because it's one of the ones without Brady or Mahomes in it, and I say that as a Chiefs fan. I always go for the underdog stories. So even though they beat the Chiefs, I really like the Bengals. So at least you guys got another Bengals fan from it.
Yeah, I think
even
like
though
Pat said, there was
he's still
a
going
lot
to cheer
of
for the
people.
Chiefs.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of people like that across
Yeah.
the whole,
Yeah.
across everywhere.
For sure.
I mean, they are
For
likable.
sure.
Like Burrow, like it's hard to not like. I mean, obviously I'm in love with him, but it's hard to not like him.
But he always has the right answers. Like it's not like
Oh,
he,
man,
he
yeah. He
never
doesn't even-
trashes anyone. He's just like, and he never says anything about himself. He always lifts up his team, and you can tell he's a leader. You can tell it right off the bat.
Yeah. After the
Yeah.
game, it's like, Burrow, you were sacked 73 times tonight. What happened out there? He'd be like, well, the other team just had a really good game plan and they executed better. And it's like, oh man, you're not going to burn any of these guys, like
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah.
But no, he doesn't. It doesn't. He really is a leader. It's bizarre that's happening in Cincinnati.
Hey, you guys were bound to get a good egg eventually, so I'm glad it's Burrow.
Yeah, me too.
Travesty on the Discord said, I don't like sports and I don't watch sports. I'm going to read this like a grumpy old man, 'cause that's what I'm hearing.
That sounds pretty
glad
fitting,
you watch. I don't like sports and I don't watch them.
You can't make me.
I'll watch them and I don't play
Get
them.
outta here.
But I do have two favorite teams, the Dallas Cowboys, because my uncle, here we go. Because my uncle growing up liked them, so I wanted to be cool and like them too. And then for baseball, I like the Angels, not because of my uncle, but because my favorite baseball card was a Nolan Ryan All-Star card, which I still have. Weird thing is, I don't like baseball cards either, but that cheap gum kept me going. Gosh.
That gum
The
is so
gum?
bad.
That's the worst gum that's
Break
ever.
some teeth
Oh
with
my
that?
gosh.
Oh,
That's worse
it
than
breaks
zebra gum.
teeth, and then like 0.5 seconds later, it's no flavor. It's just you're chewing
Soon as you
on a
hit-
piece of paper.
As soon as you hit the baseball mound, though, like a big piece of Bubblicious, like man, it just feels right out there.
It's true. But he did have a question amidst all that. I don't do this, don't do that. He said, my question is, why do you like who you like?
Why are
So-
you the
Awesome
way that
question.
you are?
Why do you like who you like? You guys were talking about Burrow. You said why you liked him because he's an upstanding guy, good leader, leads by
Yeah.
example, never talks smack.
He
Who are
wins
some
also.
other?
That's really the thing.
Yeah, he's a winner.
I think it was a big
Um,
part of the way that I was brought up. Like a lot of times, like my dad was big into football, so from a very early age, like my dad's whole side they're like diehard Bengals fans. Like I actually have a picture. My aunt sent me a picture of my grandma, who is I think 86 or 87, standing in front of the TV for the Super Bowl, and she had a Joe Burrow shirt on. It was really cool. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean, it
That
just
is really cool.
I feel like I didn't really have much of a choice, honestly.
I mean, I've always loved sports ever since I was a kid. So being able to root for a local team, like I'm not an NBA fan. Like I love sports, but I'm not an NBA fan because we don't have a local team in the NBA. I don't have any skin
Right.
in the game. I don't really I know about players that are in the high profile guys that are in the NBA, but that but except for soccer, I don't really care much for soccer or football or Fuccibaldi or whatever it's called.
Chibolio.
But yeah, no, I've always loved sports, and really, I'm gonna be a Cincinnati fan, through and through. I'm a sports fan in general. Like I will watch like any NFL games that are on Thursday nights, Sunday nights, and Monday nights. Even if the Bengals are not even playing, I'm watching them. Like I love to watch football. Football is my number one. Baseball is a close second, but I can't watch. I with football, it's like it's only on a couple times a week, and with baseball, it's like it is on all the time. So I feel like I'm okay missing a few games.
They are two completely just different. Like as a fan of each football and baseball, the two are just not even close to being the same. Football's just way more intense because you do only get those like so few instances of like when they're out there 16, 17 games or whatever. And like you said, in baseball, it's every night there's a game on.
Every
I
night,
actually
it's
like that. Like I watch a lot of baseball games, but every night, I mean, yeah, if I turn it on and it's the second inning and the Reds are losing like 4-0, I'm like, nope.
Yes, well, not tonight.
Not ruining my night tonight. I'll check the score later,
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar to you, Patrick, in the sense that if I don't have any skin in the game, like if I don't have, like, for example, in West Virginia, we have no professional teams. We have the Mountaineers, or there's Marshall, and yeah, go Turds. We don't do the Thundering Turds in my neck of the woods. We support the Mountaineers.
All right.
Just so you know, Marshall are the Thundering Herd, which is a stupid mascot if you ask me, but nobody's asking me, so whatever. But we like to refer to them as the Thundering Turds when they play us. When they don't play us, we support them, but when they play us, we're not fans.
Interesting.
But I love the Mountaineers, basketball, baseball, football. I haven't followed them as much as I used to because of living in Brazil. But at the same time, I still keep an eye on the scores and what they're doing or what they're not doing. They have been stinking it up in football in recent years. But when it comes to professional sports, I usually just cheer for the underdog. If there is a player that I find to have like an interesting story or has, upstanding character or is a team player, I mean, like Joe Burrow, I'm definitely a Joe Burrow fan after watching him and seeing the way he presents himself and the way he handles himself. Yeah. And those magical hands of Chase are crazy good. Like he was fun to watch in these playoffs. And I'm sure there's a lot of catches and stuff he did earlier that in the season that I missed, but I like those kind of players that either have a good character and shine that way, or they shine in terms of like the crazy stuff they can do. So.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm very much on the outside of it, but yeah, it's all about the home teams. It's all about pride in one's home. Whereas, obviously I'm from New Hampshire, so we kind of get looped in as a region with like the New England Patriots and the Boston Red Sox and the Boston Celtics and all those guys. It's all a regional thing because obviously New Hampshire doesn't have their own team. So, but
where is New Hampshire?
It's up there.
You had to point to it on a map.
I don't think I could.
Well,
it's funny that you're such a casual fan, Mark, honestly, because those are like
they're
the
diehards.
most like rabid fan bases ever.
They're absolutely
and it's just been absolutely made worse over the past like 20 years because the teams are good.
Yep. Yeah, and after it's been nice because after, especially with the Red Sox, after 86 years of not winning, they finally won, and then they've had a few pennants since then, and of course Brady's been on the Patriots, and plus they had a couple of wins before that with like Drew Bledsoe and all those guys and Adam Vinatieri and all them. So yeah, that's been helpful that they're on the up and up. At least most of our teams are on the up and up. Yeah, those guys are all diehards. But yeah, to answer your question, Patrick, there's New Hampshire, Maine, Canada. That's about it. That's all you need to know. And it's in the top right-hand corner of the country.
Yeah. Just
Canada,
point
eh?
at Canada, Patrick, and then go 2 states down. You're good. You got it.
Yeah. Well,
Two
technically
states?
technically one state.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows where it is.
No, you go
It's
2
a
states
Bermuda
down.
Triangle.
1, 2, New Hampshire. You got one between because you go 1, 2, and it's on the second one. I mean, that's how you
Let me
told
ask
us.
you this
New Hampshire,
question.
Maine, Canada.
No. I'm looking at it this way. So New Hampshire, picture New Hampshire in the middle.
That's where we
Maine
don't
is-
know
That's
this.
where Texas is.
Maine is to the not in the middle of the United States. Come on.
That's
Oh,
where
okay, all right.
Texas is.
You got to look at New England. You got to look at that region, and
Right.
picture
Yeah.
New Hampshire
Picture
being in the middle of that.
Paris and Rome.
Mexico.
All right, got it.
Nailed it.
In the middle of the world, right?
So there's New
Yep.
Hampshire. Maine is just to the right, and then you have
Maine's the
Correct.
one on the end.
You have Vermont on your left, Massachusetts down on the bottom, Canada on top.
Nope. I
wasn't listening.
I'm
And
more
do you guys still
confused than I
think you
was
could get
before.
a?
No.
Good night, everybody.
Do you guys still think you could get an empty map of the United States and definitely fill it out with certainty?
No,
I could get a 90%.
I don't think I could. I think I could do a solid 80%, and I would. There's areas where I
Ooh,
would definitely.
Yeah, that's right. I'll probably get 40 out of 50. I'll probably do that.
Yeah.
I would be okay with the East Coast and some of the West Coast and Texas.
See,
Texas.
that's what
I
you would
think
do though.
that's
You'd fill out.
Texas.
You'd fill out all the blatantly obvious ones, and
You're
then try
gonna
to
feel
fill
like-
in the rest.
Man, South Dakota, North Dakota. Oh yeah, there's Idaho. You're gonna forget. Like I don't even know this one.
Yeah, I don't-
I'm not even gonna guess.
Wyoming? What?
Oh, I would have forgotten about Wyoming.
I'd get the Carolinas mixed up probably.
See, I got them
I'd
because
have them in
we're not
different
far
states.
from them.
Old Kakalakis.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Last question from Bernabe El Ronchas Butters. Which alternative sport is your favorite? Is it worthy of ESPN El Ocho? Explain as best you can. Paint a picture
It's the
of your
Ocho.
favorite alternative sport.
Oh man, my favorite. It's no longer in existence. Was arena football. I loved arena football.
It was cool.
We had
It was
a team called the Cincinnati Jungle Cats back in 2007 or 2008, around there, and I got season tickets to the Cincinnati Jungle Cats, and I think there were
This is
some
exciting.
Bengals players that owned the team, and I had got 2 tickets. Me and my dad went to every game. I loved arena football.
Hmm.
I'm sad that it's gone. They don't do that anymore.
So my pick, I guess, for if you're going to call it an alternative sport. So I love the TV show Ninja Warrior, both versions.
Okay.
The
That
Japanese
is some pretty intense stuff.
the Japanese
Yeah.
version and the American version. Just watching those guys do those obstacle courses and everything is pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to be like just in ridiculous shape to do some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
it is
Right.
absolutely incredible.
Yep. So it's interesting that you mention alternative sports, and Ronnie, I don't know if you have any alternative sports that you had in mind. I don't want to.
I would probably just. I mean, I love baseball. That's probably the first one for me.
Gotcha.
And then it's football. Alternate would probably be basketball.
Gotcha. So it's funny that you mentioned alternative sports because I have a couple of crazy out there sports, like we talked about the last time we talked about sports.
Love these.
Yeah. So the first one to share is worm charming.
Get out of here, worm.
Yep.
Is there a description of that?
There sure is.
I would very
hope
much
there
like
is.
that.
Gather round, kids. Let me share this with you.
Wow.
Worm charming is a sport where the competitors are given a 3 meter or 9.84 foot square plot of land and try to extract as many worms as possible out from the ground within 30 minutes. The
Oh
world
wait, it's just regular ground. They don't even know if there's any worms there.
yeah. The world record belongs to 10-year-old Sophie Smith, who charmed 567 worms to the
Oh my
surface at the
goodness.
World Worm Charming Championships in 2009.
How do they do that?
Wow.
How do they get them to the surface? They dig them out?
Cheater.
Yeah, they dig them out.
I like to think she's like playing some kind of flute and they all just come slithering out.
The Pied Piper of worms.
Like a
Sounds
cobra out
legit.
of a basket.
Here's one you'll enjoy. Wife carrying. So the sport of wife carrying was born in the small town of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name.
It's a weird
That's
name.
a
for a
long
town.
name.
That's
I
a
think it's
very on the nose name.
I think it's Sankajärvi in
Sankajärvi.
in
Is
Finland.
that a new Honda model?
That does-
Yes.
yeah.
No, it's
Sounds like a
actually
new electric car.
It's actually a new type of table that IKEA just put out.
True. Yeah, probably.
Sounds
Um,
right.
I buy that.
But male competitors race while each carrying their wives on their backs through an obstacle course. The history of wife carrying is based on the 19th century legend of Ronkainen the Robber. According to one of the versions, Ronkainen the Robber and the members of his gang were stealing food and women from neighboring villages, carrying them over their shoulders as they ran away.
You
Wife
have to
ca-
carry her over your shoulder in
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
First of all, that seems like a ridiculous basis to actually have a sport on stealing people.
No, it doesn't seem like it should be.
Well,
But
really?
You know what? We're gonna stay away from this legend here.
So here's the funniest part. The wife carrying world championships are held annually in Finland, and the winner receives the equivalent of his wife's weight in beer.
That's a crappy prize to be arguing all weekend with your wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the wife doesn't do anything except for just be over the shoulder.
Well, and she also has to declare her age or her weight so that you can get the prize. That's like double whammy. That's asking for punishment.
Yep.
It's like,
That's
hey, how
true.
much do you weigh so we can get our prize of beer?
If it's all on the
And that's
man's
when you
shoulders,
get slapped across the
like,
face.
If it's all on the man's shoulders, literally, boy, I can think of some problems to arise from that.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And one more, and I'll close it out that way. So extreme ironing is the latest danger sport that combines the thrills of an extreme outdoor activity with the satisfaction of a well-pressed shirt. The competitors
line.
call themselves ironists and go to dangerous or remote places with a board to do the ironing. The activities may include ironing underwater, on top of a mountain, in moving vehicles.
You can't iron underwater.
Would the shirt even be wrinkled underwater?
Apparently, you can.
No, you cannot.
I'm gonna have to Google this later, see if I
Fake
can find
news.
a video of it. They do it on top of a mountain, in moving vehicles, in a canoe, in the middle of a busy street, while skiing, skydiving, or snowboarding.
I'd be so upset
Okay,
if somebody was
that's fine.
ironing a shirt in the middle of traffic and I couldn't get through. I would get out and hurt this person.
For the
I bought-
competition.
I buy all of it except for the underwater. I'm like, you can't iron a shirt underwater. One, you're going to get electrocuted. Two, it's not going to iron.
water.
It's just, it's water.
Maybe they make a special iron
wash.
for underwater.
So stupid.
Steam.
Maybe. My alternative sport, since I got skipped, is curling.
Sorry.
Just because it makes me giggle when one dude or gal, sends it going, and then other people are like with
Oh,
their
yeah.
little brushes.
I'd totally be
Make
a
a little
broom man,
path.
though, on
I've-
one of those teams. I'd totally be a broom man.
Totally, it's very cathartic to watch. I think
It's
And,
relaxing, really.
Yeah, so it's all about the curling. It really is. It's really relaxing.
Have you guys
And then
been
they're
watching
just
the
like-
Olympics?
They're just watching
Nope.
it, and it's like inching towards the
I have no
center.
interest either.
I haven't. I'm a terrible person.
I feel bad
I really
because I
wanna
haven't
watch it,
watched
but
any of
I
it, but
also
I mean,
don't
I
really
just
care.
don't care about it.
Yeah. It's sad because like
Honestly, I'm more of a metal guy. Like if it's a metal round and I know about it, I'll watch it. Like if I know someone's gonna get bronze, silver, gold,
Yeah,
interested.
that's
But if
fair.
it's just like, hey, this is just to qualify, I'm like, I don't really care.
yeah. Well, it's kind of sad to think about like their viewer rate is like way down from the last Winter Olympics. And you think about it like Shaun White, who was like a lot of the face of winter sports.
Yeah.
His last Olympic run was this year. and nobody's watching.
It's just
I was
I'm
too
in.
wrapped up in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have to be something like for me that I was like into doing, like skiing or snowboarding or something, and it just doesn't interest me. Even years ago when it was a little bit bigger, and I don't know, like that stuff just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
If they had literally Olympic
All right.
baseball, I
Well-
would watch. I know they have the World Baseball Classic, but
They do have it during the
it's
summer, don't they have Olympic baseball?
it's technically not Olympic, but I mean, I think the like baseball, what is it, baseball classic or I don't know. It's kind of cool to watch, even though all the really good players from the major leagues, like, no, they're not going to go out there and hurt themselves for no money.
Yeah.
For pride.
It's just like basketball in the Olympics. Like,
All right.
if the United States doesn't win, then that's because our players just aren't out there.
Yeah.
Oh, you go ahead now.
Yeah. Yeah.
My bad.
All right. That is all, I think, unless someone had something else to say.
No, we're good.
All right. Fair enough. That's all for Sportsball. Thanks for joining us. Quick housekeeping. We're out for towels, pillows, Andy's Candies, tip you off to the GMG knows you need to know. The stream team's still working hard Sunday to Saturday. Chris early mornings, and then Saturday mornings, Marc Boucher still working on that old Zelda saga. So check it out, twitch.tv. If you would rather not watch streaming, but you'd like to tweet on Twitter, discourse on Discord, you can click the links in the show notes and join us there, of course. We would love to converse and hang out with you. If you would like to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and now Spotify, that would be excellent. Helps us to engage with new joiners and all that jazz. So please do so. And then the last thing that we're going to, I think, still do is the GMG MEST 100 list.
Does everybody have
songs?
their picks?
Maybe,
Nope.
sort of.
Nope. They don't. Okay. Okay.
I'll,
Well,
I'll have 2 picks next week.
there you go.
All right.
That's fair.
Fair
We'll-
enough.
we'll
Just
look up.
kidding then.
Okay or not?
Wait,
Alrighty
are we
then.
not?
I don't know what we're doing.
Wait,
now.
are we? You just said you'd have 2 picks next week,
I
so that
would,
means no.
But
Oh, okay. Mark or Ronnie, do you have a pick?
I do.
Do it.
Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley.
Hey!
Oh, of course.
What a fantastic song.
Nice. It's a good call.
Round and desert you. It's a good one. Mine is Enter Sandman by Metallica.
Nice.
Whoa.
Solid.
Whoa.
And mine is
Marcus,
neither of those.
obviously. Thanks for solidifying that.
Yep. So it is another song from Switchfoot. It is a song called Faust, Midas, and Myself. It's very much a story song, kind of merging those kind of fictional tales, the story of Faust and King Midas. It kind of merges all of those things into one story. So check it out.
Cool. Alrighty then. Pat, Mark, and Ronnie J, along with you, our beloved friends, family, and joiners. Go get your good morning this week, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.